Downwell, created by the excellent Ojiro Fumoto and published by my favorite indie gaming overlords, Devolver Digital. Please sponsor me, I'm begging you. In the year of our Lord, 2015, and played by me since 2016. Downwell is a curious game about a young person venturing down a well in search of untold treasures with only his gunboots for protection. Or so the Steam page says, and yes, this is on Steam, we'll get into that. So head down the well you will, and you'll encounter beasts and monsters, and it's up to you to protect yourself, and you'll die again. It's another roguelite, people, another roguelite video. Brando does it again, he does it again. The controls are easy. You move in two directions and you can jump. Though if you're airborne, it'll activate your gunboots. Mastering the gunboots is tough, but possible. You start with a pretty small amount of energy that determines how many shots your boots have. And you can increase this number by purchasing items from the shop, finding an energy up gun module, or getting above a 15 kill combo, which will reset if you touch the ground, so you really have to make sure you're falling strategically. The number varies per each gunboot variant, and some take more or less energy per shot, like the shotgun and laser. Those are both more powerful than your average machine gun, so they have fewer shots, and so it makes sense they're limited in the munitions department. Downwell is meant to be played fast and speed ran, then even includes a timer in the settings so you can track yourself as you progress through each of the 4 stages. On console versions, there's various leaderboards so you can see how you stack up against the world. The game design is beautiful in that everything has dual purpose, so the gunboots will not only help you maneuver around the well, but they'll kill enemies. The modules you find in caves will change your gun variant and increase your energy or health. You can increase your combo by shooting enemies or jumping on them. The jump button is also the gunboot button. Gems not only act as currency, but will give you a gem high which gives you damage and speed boost. Even the game, at its core, is two-tone in color. I could go on and on and on, and if that's not yin and yang, feng shui type stuff, I don't know what is. So you've got 4 areas to traverse with 3 stages each and ending with 5-1 final boss. Each area introduces new enemy types, and a new type is introduced per each stage of that area. The colored enemies cannot be stomped on, so you'll have to avoid them or gun them down. Along the way, you'll find shops that will offer you several items, which can be 1 health, 2 health, 1 energy, 2 energy, 1 health and 1 energy, and the coveted 1+ max HP up curry. Beyond the shops, you can find little bubbles outside of the space-time continuum, but not outside the speedrun timer continuum. That'll be little respites and safe havens that'll have either gem piles or gun modules. Once you're done in there, time resumes, and it's back to falling and gunning. There's several different gunboot types in the game, and they all have their own unique properties and purposes. The shotgun gives you a big jump of a boost in the air, and has a wide area of effect, but takes a lot of energy to use. Nappy might seem like the worst of them at first, but you'll soon find it's nice to be able to aim at enemies from side to side as you fall down the well. There's 7 gunboot types in total, and they're all fun to master. Machine gun, puncher, triple, nappy, shotgun, laser, burst. Alongside which gunboots you're toting after each stage, with one exception, you'll be given the choice to pick from a selection of upgrades, which can greatly change your playstyle and help you immensely. There's 21 upgrades in total, which means if you manage to complete all 4, you'll only be missing 9 upgrades. But the low amount makes it easy to try out different combinations and attempt to find a synergy that you like. For example, 1 makes it so gems are attracted towards you, and 2 others are upgrades that activate on gem pickup, stuff like that. The last gameplay element is that there's different styles of gameplay. Usual is the standard and gives no positive or negative bonuses. Arm spin makes it so that shops are rare, and those no time caves just have gun modules. Boulder increases your health by 2. Levitate makes you fall slower, and handstand, which removes upgrades but gives a permanent 30% discount in shops. These are all unlocked with lifetime gem milestones, and we will get into that. And that's really all there is to the gameplay. Once you've mastered the stages, the areas, the enemies, and the final boss, completing an average, slower run of Downwell from start to finish is about 15 minutes. But to master it, I can't even tell you how many hours I've sank into this game over the years. Now, regardless of if you're winning or not, son, your gem total for each run gets compiled into a lifetime total, which at certain milestones unlocks new color palettes for the game, which is a nice way to keep things looking fresh and interesting. The last color scheme you unlock takes a lifetime total of 500,000 gems and is aptly called Hell. Completing the game with killing the final boss, that usually nets me around 10,000-ish or so, making that about 2,500 per area. So maybe if we take into account the learning curve, you can be sure that your game will be looking fresh for at least 100, but probably more runs. So maybe you beat the game before you get the Hell Palette. Is that the end? Well, my friend, there's hard mode, which also takes time to master because there's a surprising amount of curveballs there. But it's not impossible. Hard mode, great time. Adds a few more stage hazards and enemies that encourage a little bit faster and calculated movement. The final boss also attacks more, and you'll find those hard mode stage hazards in there as well. But like I said, when you first unlock it, it's a pretty great refresher. It's difficult again and will keep you entertained further beyond what you thought you'd be with a mobile game that should take about 15 minutes or less to beat. Except it isn't a mobile game. It's available on PC and consoles. And while I am specifically recommending the mobile version, unless you're on Android with a big boy phone, in which case, F in the comments. That does lead me to one of my only gripes about this game. The touch controls are almost half the battle. With the controller, I mean, honestly, it's so much easier. Still difficult at times, but beyond the usual roguelike stuff, like memorizing enemy patterns or whatever, the biggest learning curve with this game for me was the movement system and controlling our little friend down the well. And let me tell you, the touchscreen controls are not very kind in regards to that process. But even still, I think the mobile version is worth having and playing. Even the broke Android version, I still play it. It's the form factor the game was intended for, though I will accept Switch in portrait mode as an acceptable alternative here. And it's also got that short but sweet spot of playtime that's just perfect for mobile gaming. And beyond beating the game on mobile, on hard mode, with all the different styles, grabbing all the achievements on console, and even if you go as far as to get some of the secret achievements that I won't go into, you can always join the unofficial Downwell Discord for more fun times and challenges that'll continue to push your skills and help you make some friends along the way. Great people over there. Link to their Discord in the description. So some last remarks here as a Downwell veteran. Here's a few tips and tricks for you. Early on, you'll get boulder style and think to yourself, man, I really could use an extra 2 HP. But what you'll find is that boulder is actually more difficult than the other styles because what it doesn't advertise is that you fall faster and you don't get as much lift off of stomping enemies. If you're still learning enemy patterns and gunboot variants, use levitate style when you unlock that. Alternatively, play other styles that can obtain upgrades and snag the heart balloon, which reduces your fall speed until it pops. Another great thing to learn is the wall jump. If you're close to a wall and you're in a rolling animation, you can do a wall jump if you push off of the wall and jump at the same time, so left or right plus jump. What gets you into a rolling animation? Jumping straight off the ground, stomping an enemy, and that includes if you stomp while being damaged, or stomping on a stage prop like a rock or a torch. You can use the wall jumping to do some crazy maneuvers around enemies and avoid taking damage. You can also use it to slow your momentum momentarily to get your bearings together. Highly recommend practicing this, and it's easier, I think, while in levitate style. If you manage to make it to the third area with the water, try to get yourself the knife and fork upgrade. The bodies here will fall slower, so collecting them for HP is really easy, and I usually can increase my max HP several times while I'm falling through there, which you can do by collecting more HP while you have full health. Just be sure you don't make it harder for yourself and have both knife and fork and exploding bodies upgrades. That'll give you a tougher time. The third area is also a great place to practice comboing, unless you're levitate style, in which case you do fall faster here. What I didn't mention about the combo system, you reach kills, then you get 100 gems as a bonus. 15 is when you get that +1 energy, and then 25 will give you +1 HP. And you don't get anything after 25. There is a leaderboard though, if you want to go for the biggest combo. If it's not obvious, I absolutely consider this to be a name brand product for almost everything about it. And I hope that I may have convinced some of you out there to give it a try and breathe some more life into it. Because after all these years, it's the least I can do for what I consider to be one of the best mobile games of all time. Links as always in the description. Okay, thanks and goodbye.